Mask requirements in schools during this Delta variant surge. It is a hot topic right now, and it is the subject of lawsuits filed across the state, especially right here in San Antonio. There's rulings day after day. It's confusing to follow, and there has been a lot that's happened in the last couple of days. So to provide some clarity on that, we have Al Kauffman, professor of law at St. Mary's University, to walk us through this complicated legal process. Al, thanks for being here, first of all. And I'd like to start with what stands right now. We know that the Texas Supreme Court ruled that Bexar County, this was on a technicality, I know, but Bexar County and the city of San Antonio can continue to require masks. Explain that temporary injunction.
Well, the latest thing is that the Court of Appeals here, the Fourth Court of Appeals, instituted a temporary injunction, which said that the state cannot enforce the governor's executive order. And the governor's executive order was going to prevent school districts and cities from having mask ordinances or vaccination requirements. But for the time being, that order is not in effect. School districts can, if they're under other orders to do so, require masks. And the school district San Antonio, I think, is going to have a requirement that their employees be vaccinated. And those rules are now in effect. Now, the state will continue to challenge those and might eventually be successful. The Supreme Court hasn't really ruled on it in detail. But for now, I think parents can feel comfortable that the rule is that, at least in Bexar County, if you go to a school district and your child's over 2, they have to wear a mask.
So if excuse me there, Al, if the Texas Supreme Court eventually rules on the state's challenge and would side alongside the governor or the state, would that be the ultimate say there?
That would probably be the end of the fight. There is a federal lawsuit brought by parents of children with disabilities saying that the state rule also violates their rights. So that could still be successful no matter what the Texas Supreme Court does. But that would end the basic state issues. Right now, the courts basically are saying that the governor went beyond his authority under the law when he issued this broad ruling saying that cities and school districts and others could not have mask ordinances.
And you have worked with a local school district. You have sued the state in doing some of that work. Explain some of the challenges there in trying to represent a school district against the state.
Well, of course, it's difficult to bite the hand that feeds you. And for school districts, in the school finance case we represented Edgewood and other school districts. We sued the state successfully, showing that the state school finance system violated the state constitution. So that certainly is allowable. It happens often. School districts can sue the state can sue school districts, the state can sue school superintendents. So that's accepted. These special issues here are, of course, because of the literal deadly virus out there and the fact that people are dying so rapidly and the infection rates are increasing so rapidly makes it all much more important and timely, and indeed a very, very strong issue. So I think the Supreme Court knows or will eventually rule on this and will say that the governor either was within his authority or was not. So far, they have not done that. But the lower courts, the district courts and the courts of appeals in San Antonio and in Austin and Dallas, Harris County have all said that the governor went beyond his authority under the law.
So we're talking again about the governor's executive order saying that schools cannot require masks. And we have heard from the Texas Attorney General in suing some schools that are doing so. He was saying that schools cannot be above the law. So is a governor's executive order the same thing as a law?
Well, basically it is. Yes, it's hard for some people to put their heads around that. But there's a state law which gives the governor authority to issue executive orders in cases of real emergency. And I went back and read the law recently just so I could understand it better. I think it was mainly aimed at at fighting hurricanes and fires, and generally things the governor could do to improve the health and safety of people in the state. Now, the question is going to be whether the governor's order is sort of reversing that. The governor's order is saying that cities and counties and others could not have ordinances or rules requiring people to have masks, whether that's within that law or not. So again, the legislature has given the governor authority to issue rules and regulations that have the power of law. But there's still the question on whether the governor's orders in this case are consistent with the law. And that's the point that eventually the Texas Supreme Court is probably going to have to clarify.
You know, something I've wondered as we're watching all of this unfold, we've got school districts creating their own rules despite the governor's order, the state suing those districts, even the threat of legal action coming from the federal level over this governor's executive order. Is there any sort of legal precedent for this? Have we seen anything similar play out in the past?
I don't think I've seen one this confusing that happened so quickly. I mean, there certainly have been struggles in the desegregation efforts many years ago. The state had laws saying that you couldn't desegregate, but some school districts wanted to. The state would stop them. And then the federal government would sue the states to remove those rules. So it's not unheard of for there to be this sort of challenges, but never, I don't think, this quickly with so much time pressure, and indeed where the enemy, which is the virus, was so clear.
Another way we could use that word unprecedented that we have heard so much over the last 18 months. Al Kauffman, professor of law at St. Mary's University, thanks so much for sharing some time with us.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I enjoy visiting with these things with the public. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.